What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office. I am your co-host, Jesse Schneeman. We're part of the Dynasty Warzone Network. Please like and subscribe. I'm here with another co-host, my main man, Chad Mendoza. Actually, I'm not here with Chad Mendoza. He might join us later. I am here with the auspicious Austin Bell. How you doing tonight, Austin?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Oof, exhausted, but just so happy. It's been a crazy week, but the drafts have been so much fun.
They are so much fun.
So much about team building this year, more about just the individual talent, So people are all over the place.
Which is the best kind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But then we have our actual host for the evening, Professor Major Mike Casper. How you doing tonight, Mike?
What is up, Jesse? It is good to be back. I am officially done with my MBA as of Saturday.
Congrats.
Graduate next Saturday. I also wrap up my Army ROTC time next Saturday. So it'll be a lot of big changes coming into the Casper household. But I'm super excited to run this tonight because rookie drafts are underway. And I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it.
Nice. Yeah, so I appreciate you volunteering the host tonight. That way I can just sit back and be an analyst.
Give bad takes and talk about the Eagles.
Absolutely. Yeah, no Eagles. I will.
Yeah, I'm with Matt on that.
Force mute you. Austin, can you force mute him at all?
No, he has the power for a reason.
All right.
There's absolutely, he won't give that up.
I'll just cover my ears and go la 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 whenever the Eagles.
Wow. The Philadelphia football team didn't take any skill.
I was about to say, luckily, we shouldn't be talking about
it. We shouldn't be talking about them at all. They'll be fine. But hey, let's get right into it. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. Take it away, Mike.
All right. So first question for you guys, and this is just gonna be me spitting questions to y'all, giving your opinions. But who were your biggest movers post draft, as far as whether it was up and down your individual rookie rankings because of landing spot? Obviously, the Shedeur fall. Don't want to talk about that too much. But were there any other big fantasy relevant moves that you're like, oh man, yeah, I think I got to move them up because of the draft capital they got. I'm not gonna lie, the Broncos wide receiver they took in the third round didn't even know who that was. So, but what do you guys got, Austin? I'll start with you. Any big movers for you?
I'll go ahead and mention the obvious one, which is RJ Harvey. I think me and Jesse both had him at 9 or 10. He's now in that top 6. Okay, excuse me. He's now in that top 6. Getting that round 2 capital to Denver is huge. The two on the other side of that for me would be Devin Neal and Dylan Sampson. I had both of those, and even Scadaboo a little bit, which he didn't move as much. But Neal and Sampson, I had both of those. I think I had them at 5 and 6 or 5 and 7, something like that. And for neither one to get day 2 capital kind of hurt my heart. And Neal, I think he went round 6. He went to a good spot. I do like his spot, but at least it made him relevant. But the capital's kind of rough, so he had to tumble down.
Yeah, Sampson was really, really rough. That just made me so sad. I love that kid, and he just, I mean, I think we said it plenty of times pre-draft that he just struck me as the type of guy that would happen to. It just sucks that he's behind such a great back in Judkins, and immediately the coach is talking about how he's a workhorse and he can carry the load, and I think he used the word bell cow for Judkins. So
yeah,
but Sampson
is right.
Yeah. But it is right, yeah. But Sampson he always struck me as the kind of guy that would get drafted this way, but will also prove NFL teams wrong over time. Kind of like Sproles. It's not the same type of player as Sproles, but
already one topic in.
He was a saint.
Gosh, Jesse.
His mother was a saint. Yeah, I just think a smaller, underappreciated back is all I'm saying.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it sucks he went there. He was going to be a darling in day 3 to about 70% of the teams, and of course he went to one who just got early second round capital.
Yeah, he was 5 for me.
Yeah, cool. I think that's where I had him at 5 or 6. I think I had Scadaboo ahead of him, but yeah.
Nice.
At the receiver position, the only thing that really hurt me is Higgins and Knoll going to the same spot.
That's so much
So
fun.
now I don't
Oh.
like either one of them in drafts currently at their ADP.
Okay.
Knoll, I'm a little bit more comfortable with, being it's typically that late second. 211 is where I'm seeing him a lot at, and I feel better about that. But Higgins, it scares me a little bit because you could almost comp him to Nico Collins coming out of college. I think they're very similar style players. I know Jesse's over here shaking his head because Nico's a monster now, but Nico wasn't that
He was
coming
not
out.
his first.
I think they're
year,
very
right?
similar style prospects.
I understand, but I think Nico is faster and more fluid. They're just different types of athletes.
But I don't think he was fluid coming out. I think he's developed the fluidity. He was fast for sure. But it kind of sucks because I did like Higgins, but I feel like he's going to be stuck behind Nico because I don't think they can both operate successfully.
I disagree. I disagree.
I think I'm in the minority on this, but
so I'll reference Matt Harmon. He thinks that Higgins actually would be best off as a power slot, and I could really see Noel playing like a flanker type of position, or hey, Chad's with us, or like a vertical slot. I think that it gives them the versatility to move all of their guys around. Nico doesn't always have to be on the outside beating press. He can do it, but I think Higgins can as well. And I think the right offensive coordinator can be really multiple with those three guys, and it could look really, really good.
I mean, didn't Noel play 80% out of the slot at Iowa State? Isn't that right?
Well, it depends on what you call the slot because of their formations were
the inside receiver or
they played a lot of bunch. You know what I mean? So
fair. They give me hesitance. That's kind of the receivers. Otherwise, I mean, Burden's spot's less than ideal, but it didn't really knock them down for me.
I just think that the skill sets between the three of them, I as an offensive coordinator, I would have a lot of fun moving them around and, like I said, just being multiple and keeping defenses on their heels.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you're wrong though, because they did take another receiver fairly high, right? 3rd round for Noel.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But they took Higgins. What was it? 58?
No, 34.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 34. Okay.
They had the Browns pick from.
I mean, that's pretty strong draft capital.
Yeah,
they're gonna use him, and they really had a need for her 2nd and 3rd options last year. Dalton Schultz is not that guy. He's an outlet receiver.
And no Tank Dell this year, so
right. Yeah, we're not gonna see him this year, and I just hope he comes back.
Actually plays again. Yeah. All right.
Chad, are you actually with us?
Nope.
No.
He's unmuted, but he's not with us.
Yeah, he said he had bad storms. So
there's some bad storms passing through Central Texas here, so we'll get back to him. Next question. So
hold on.
Oh, what?
I didn't get to answer.
Oh, I don't want to hear your opinion. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Jesse.
This is nice.
I'm gonna dish out the disrespect.
Well, I wanted to talk about the tight ends.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Tight ends, biggest movers.
Yeah, both of those tight ends moved down considerably for me, just because of the landing spot for one, and I guess crowded room for the other. But I have Loveland above Warren. I guess I don't know if I know Chad wants to punch me for that.
I still have Warren ahead.
I drafted Loveland above Warren. So.
Oh, did you?
At what pick? P2. I think it was 109.
109.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue. They're interchangeable for me currently. But in that case, I'm gonna take the prospect I have higher. So we've seen way too many times talent overrule landing spots. So I'm trying not to let it persuade me too hard.
Look what Bowers did with the crappy QB room he had last year. Granted, they're not Bowers, but
true.
The QBs were pretty garbage.
Yeah, with both getting top 15 draft capital, you can't really knock them too hard. I mean, they did come out of that top 7 tier for me, whereas they were originally in tight end premium leagues, probably going to be at that 105-ish, 5 to 7 range, and now they're kind of exclusively out of the top 7 for me.
Yeah.
But they're in their own tier by themselves after that.
I have them as 111 and 112. I would take both running backs, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, and Dart over them almost every time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not for me. Even in premium? Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I say almost every time because if it's a 0.75 premium or higher, then definitely I'm considering tight end higher than that. Like we're in this double deuce league where it's start 2 quarterback
1.0 premium too,
and start 2 tight ends, and it's a 1.0 premium. So I don't expect either tight end or Dart to be there by 110.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. I mean, in a 1 premium, it's kind of hard not to take them at like 104, 105 for me personally.
It hadn't happened. Everyone, I'm in 3 of them, and they've made it to 8 or later every single time.
Yeah. I mean, that's people not knowing what kind of league they're in. 1 point premium is pretty. It's a pretty big advantage if you have an elite tight end, which they're fully capable of being.
Even just a tight end that catches like 5 passes a game, every game. It's still pretty good a lot of the time.
Yeah, I just haven't had any of those drafts come up yet. It's all been 0.5 premium or I had a 0.25 premium draft. And yeah.
Gotcha. Chad, we've just been talking big movers post draft, whether wide receiver, running back, or tight end. Were there any big movers for me? We already talked for you. We already talked Sampson a little bit, and then the Texans wide receivers. Anybody else?
Not really any big movers for me in particular. And I think what really happened with my pre-draft rankings is I tried to account for where I thought players might end up as far not specific teams, but specific draft capital. And I nailed a lot of it. So I had already taken that into account. So I didn't really have much movement, especially with my running backs. It's almost the exact same order. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where I was looking over my post-draft rankings, and they're very similar. I think I had 2 guys swap 1 spot each. So I had like Tootin and Sampson swap 8 and 9, and I had Harvey and Caleb Johnson swap 3 and 4.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Austin,
4 and 5. Sorry, not 3 and 4. 4 and 5.
I have a quick question for you, Austin.
Sir,
was that the most Chad answer you've ever heard in your life?
It was on par.
It was on par. It was good. All right, hey, let's move on to the next one. So, what did you think was some of the best landing spots for individual players you liked or maybe didn't like, and maybe some draft capital that you expected or didn't expect?
I'll go against the grain because I don't think anybody else will say it, but Travis Hunter to Jacksonville is
I like
so much better than Travis Hunter to Cleveland.
To the Browns?
Yeah, they don't even have quarterback over there.
So much better.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it got me way more excited for him and cemented him as my 102.
Yeah, same.
So if Trevor still sucks this year, are we out?
Well, they'll probably be out if we're going to be honest.
Right?
Well, they just re-signed him, so.
Well, that's okay. We've seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can't do it with BTJ and Hunter, there's an issue.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I mean, obviously Judkins, I think I called the Travion landing spot. Judkins was ideal.
Yeah.
Hampton was ideal. As far as the wide receivers, I really like Golden. I know that's a little against the grain as well. A lot of people don't like the Golden landing spot. I think people get too hung up on, I know this was one of your questions, Mike. People get hung up on whether he's a 1 or not. I don't really care. Like, I don't really care to classify it in that manner. I think he is a excellent receiver. He was easily my 3rd receiver. Really close to 2nd with Egbuka. And he fits a specific need on a team with a really aggressive quarterback that fits his skill set and a really good offensive coach. I love the fit, and I think he's going to put up points there.
Egbuka's your second wide receiver?
He was, yeah. No, and he's not now, but he was.
So you're ignoring Hunter, correct? Is that
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I forgot about that.
okay? I was
No,
like,
third-
hold
I
on.
was
a second.
like, I was
I'm
like,
so
whoa,
sorry.
man,
Those
I
this
was
is
about to say
those guys were
some
3
comment.
and those guys were 3 and 4. It was
Okay.
Hunter,
Okay.
Tet.
Okay.
I had it Egbuka, Golden, but now it's flipped for me. Now it's Golden, then Egbuka.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody else? Because that was kind of the question: is hey, is a wide receiver one in Green Bay important? They still don't have that, or are you just like Jordan Love and kind of out on the wide receivers?
I think it's a pretty decent landing spot. I mean, there could be worse, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
Green Bay's still like a they should be a decent offense, right? A lot of the time the ball has been spread around and you don't know which guy is going to come out on top of that, but you could really blame that on the lack of premier talent in that offense. If you believe in Golden as a prospect, or if you did believe in Golden as a prospect, and what's changing now, you can't look at the players that are there and say, well, they're not doing it, because they're not players that really were highly invested in, right? They're not players that everybody thought, just from a consensus perspective, were elite talents as prospects. So I don't know. I think Golden's a little bit of a different mold, just because I think more highly of him than I did those players coming out. I think he has every chance to succeed. It's obviously not a given, but I don't think the landing spot hurts him personally.
Anyone else where you really love their landing spot, Chad?
I think the landing spot that is kind of made me view a player much differently than I did going in. Not much differently, but a decent amount different than I did coming in was Judkins. I love that landing spot. I think that was probably, if I had to pinpoint one landing spot for a specific player, it's Judkins, because you can see him going right into that role and playing the same exact style Chubb did in that offense, being the same exact kind of player, not maybe the talent level, because I think Chubb's significantly a better player. There's not many players, the last decade as good as Chubb in his prime, right? But being that same kind of running back in that mold, and I'm excited for him. I'm really, really excited to see. I think some people are viewing the Sampson pick as a little bit of a damper on that. I don't view it that way. I think they're telling you with where they took these guys what they think of them. And even when Chubb was at, firing on all cylinders, they've always had a pretty reasonable back behind him.
Duke Johnson or
whoever. Kareem Hunt, right?
Yeah.
So, and Hunt, I mean, and both of them still got their kind of their play in that offense. So I'm not too worried about it. I really like it for actually for both of them. Maybe not Sampson so much, but if there was, a team where I'm like, okay, you can be a backup running back and still get some production, it's Cleveland.
Okay. Gotcha. Going back to the running backs, let's just move on to the next question, because you mentioned him. Omarion Hampton, Austin, you still got him at the RB4, despite the first round draft capital and, the pretty ideal landing spot, I feel like, with the Chargers. Is this more like Najee's going to eat into it a little bit, or is it you just love the Judkins, Henderson profile prior, great landing spots, and just going to stick to your guns pre-draft?
Yeah, it's just pre-draft, post-draft, nothing changed. Both the other running backs got early day 2 capital to good landing spots. So we're talking about 15 picks in the NFL draft, which the Chargers have the best running back of the group as a replacement, as an alternate.
Behind him, yeah.
So Najee doesn't scare me in any fashion. He never has. But if we're going to look at what else is there, at least they have a competent running back, where the other two guys, I mean, Stevenson's fine, but they're completely different players than with Henderson and Stevenson.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just staying the same. It's completely the same pre-draft to post-draft. I actually did flip Henderson to 2, but they're neck and neck. I've taken one of each at the same spot.
Has anyone seen Hampton go in front of Henderson or Judkins in any other drafts? Or?
I think every draft.
I think he goes.
Oh, really?
He goes ahead of them.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I say it wrong? Did I say Hampton in front? I meant to say like the other ones in front of him.
I've seen Henderson jump Hampton once. Okay. He went 103.
I always see Hampton
in a super
flex before the other running backs.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen Hampton go behind them. I've seen Hampton go ahead of them in every draft I've done so far.
But as far as the other players, no, I let Hampton fall to 105 actually in P3. So I had picks 4, 6, and 7. Hunter and Cam Ward came off the board. Genty, Hunter, Cam Ward, and I'm at 104. And I'm thinking, if I take Hampton, then I'm going to be left with the next player could very well take Tet, and then I'm left with the other 2 running backs. And I'm not going to sit here and take 3 running backs. In the first round, I have other needs on my team. It's actually wide receiver is my biggest need on that team. So, Mike.
Sorry, I'm watching the Avs game.
Playoff hockey.
I love you guys. I love it.
So I took Tet at 104 and let Hampton fall to 105. I thought it was perfectly reasonable with the way I wanted to build my team.
Yeah, you made the right decision anyway. That's the better player.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think you are really, really missing that. When we evaluated Hampton, I think all of us said that if he goes to the right place, he could just be an absolute monster. And he went to the right place. He went to the exact right place.
Yeah.
He's going to have that little bit of a runway that he needs. He's not going to have to create on his own that much. It's a hardball line, man. They're going to maul people, open up spots for him, and he's going to take off.
I think Harbaugh's going to run the hell out of him.
Yeah,
I think
he is.
It's going to be a run first offense. And I think that's what they're prepping for. I think anybody that believes, Justin Herbert's going to go out there and throw 50 times a game, they're going to be really disappointed.
They're high, yeah.
They brought back Mike Williams. They drafted Trey Harris. These are big guys on the outside that can block.
Yeah. So good stuff. Like it. What was your biggest surprise landing spots, whether for good or bad, where you saw them get picked and you're like, oh, hey, I love that, or oh, hey, this is awful.
Burden.
Go ahead.
Burden.
And you hated it?
Yeah.
I hated it. I at first was like, oh, wow, man, that's really good capital. I might have to rethink. And I was like, shit, to the Bears? Nah. I was already very questionable. Like there are just huge red flags with him. There just were too many red flags for him to be drafted to this offense with all of these other great options.
I love it for Caleb.
Yeah,
I just don't love Burden for fantasy on his own right now.
No,
but I get
no,
it.
absolutely not. No, I have him as a low second round pick. Every time I see him get drafted in every draft I'm in, I'm like, oh, gross. That's way too high. I've never seen him fall to the point where I would take him. It feels a little like Quentin Johnston for me last year. Like I had him as a late second, and there's not once did he fall to that spot.
I feel like Chad has something to say. Chad, what you got?
Go ahead.
Or nothing? No?
Oh, yeah, no, I've got a player in mind. Scatabo for me.
Yeah.
I was really hoping he was going to go to a place where he could there'd be less question marks. But I mean, as far as, running a tandem, the Giants not the worst landing spot in the world. It's just a little disappointing for me, just because I think Tyrone Tracy's a good player. I think they're going to be doing a decent amount of splitting there in that offense, and we'll see how that kind of works out. But just a lot of question marks going into it. Glad he was able to get at least semi-reasonable capital in the beginning of the 4th round. But yeah, just a lot of question marks. I'm interested to see how that kind of gets fleshed out.
I've seen him go really high. I just saw him go in the top of the second.
I mean, he's that 7th running back. The thing is say you take Tet or Hunter at 1-2, 1-3, you need a running back. Unfortunately, that's the next one up.
I think
he's kind of your last shot there at running back, right? Like, there's nobody behind him that. I mean, you're looking at once you pass him, you're looking at Tootin, right, or Neal, and Tootin's got probably more competition than Scatabo does.
Oh yeah.
So
Neal's
they drafted the Quinn Allen too. That's what nobody's talking about. They drafted Allen in the 7th or 6th as well.
That's right. Yeah,
so,
I knew that they drafted.
That's 4 viable running backs in Jacksonville.
Gotcha. All right.
Hold on, I didn't get.
You got someone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna name 2 tight ends: Mason Taylor to the Jets with the capital, and Terrence Ferguson to the Rams with the capital. 2 guys that I was fans of, especially Ferguson. I was higher than I think all of y'all. And then to get I think it's 44 or 46 to the Rams is awesome. Exciting profile with a good offensive system. It should be, and you can get them now in the 3rd round.
Yeah,
in tight end premium leagues. I mean, it feels great. Like I love it.
I'm fixing to get a
I've
share
seen
of
him. I've seen him go in the 4th in some.
Yeah,
in
even
some
better.
leagues, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the one tight end that I don't have a share on. Since we're talking tight end, Gunnar Helm, I like the landing spot. I think Chiggs had long enough to try to establish himself, and I loved Gunnar Helm. And you're talking about a guy you can get in the 4th, 5th round as a dart throw. Love this kid.
Yeah,
you know, I would take him at the end of the 3rd, but you don't have to. So, just let him fall.
Gunnar Helm's consistently there in the 5th round in leagues I'm drafting in, and that's that for me. An absolute steal, a guy with 4th round draft capital in that Tennessee offense where everything is up in the air. If you want a guy with 4th round capital going to compete, Tennessee is what a spot, man, because nobody knows what's happening in that offense right now. It could, we can come out the other side and tight end could be a real focal point. So it's worth taking a shot there in the 5th for sure.
Gotcha. All right, good. Yeah, we'll talk about your guys' drafts and how they've been going here in a second. Wanted to ask you guys about Tyler Shook. So obviously stuff in the draft. So he's QB3 for all of y'all now. He's taken, I think, 40 overall. Is that 40 overall by the Saints? There's Derek Carr drama. What's his kind of ceiling and floor and expectations? And as we transition in, I know Jesse, you've gotten a lot of them. So talk about where you've been seeing him fall in your rookie drafts.
Yeah, I can get him wherever I want in the late 2nd. So I've gotten him in every league that I needed a 3rd quarterback. I just take Shug in either 8, 9, or 10. The ceiling is, I don't know, I guess what Derek Carr was for a while in his prime. Just a good, competent, league average quarterback that's fun to watch. Gets you a little, might get you a little scrambling. The floor is an absolute freaking disaster, and that he's hurt, can't get on the field all the time. He is a 37-year-old rookie. I mean,
he's
like
25, everybody. He's 25.
Honestly, so the floor is that like he might not even be able to get on the field, and if he does, it could just be really, really bad. It could be a complete disaster if he is out there. So, but I don't care. I don't give a shit if I'm taking a quarterback that is likely to start for the Saints, where I took guys like Jalen Hyatt, and Cedric Tillman, and Jalen Tolbert, and if you tell me I have a shot at a starting quarterback instead, all day.
To be fair, he's only a year older than Bo Nix. To put that in some perspective, like granted, he was at college for a while, but
it's 7 years.
Yeah,
Bo is thick, so it's not like that's a
Bo, that was a big problem with Bo too. But yeah, true. He
honestly, I think the experience helped him though.
You're right. I mean, it made him coachable, obviously.
As opposed to like an AR who only starts, 10 or 12 games. So, but anyway, I digress. Chad or Austin, any thoughts on Shook, or just kind of?
I think
because of the capital.
Yeah, I think he noted it. A late 2nd on a likely starting quarterback at some point this season is worth the shot. I mean, it's kind of why he's the 3rd when Shador fell, which I would assume some people still have him 3rd, and that's fine. Not like Cleveland has a lot to challenge him if he can be competent, but I'll take the guy to get the 2nd round capital that obviously the team believed in.
I'm going to take my shots at Shador in the late 2nd and early 3rd as well. How do you bring that up?
Yeah. I think it's been going in early 3rd.
I'll take a shot at that too.
Chad, you got anything to add about Shook, or we want to move on to your guys' rookie drafts?
No, I mean he's like they pointed out, he's a good grab there in the 2nd round. I don't have any shares yet. I'm hoping to grab one, but Not really much more to be said. Any quarterback that has the potential to start games, right? They're worth what they're worth there. So
yeah, and if you're my advice is if you're a contender and he's your third quarterback, have a contingency plan. Don't go into the season saying I'm covered because I took Shook.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. All right, so let's get into your guys' rookie drafts. You guys some of you have completed like probably 2 or 3, maybe more rookie drafts. Who's falling and who's going earlier than you guys would expect in your drafts, or who have you been able to gobble up because they're falling?
You want me to start?
Let's go with Austin. Austin, you got anyone?
Honestly, no. Like, and I don't want to sound funny, but there's such big flat tiers this year that not much is surprising me outside of one of the top 7 guys not being taken in the top 7. Okay. And then after that, like 108 to 202 is a tier for me, and I don't really care which way you take them. I guess if the tight ends fell out of the first, which I haven't seen yet, that would surprise me. And then from 203 to like 29 is a tier for me. Really 203 to 26, but I'm fine spreading that out. So like, no, like nothing's just shocked me yet. Other than like Ibuka going 8 once, I thought that was quite a surprise.
That's interesting.
But otherwise, nothing's like just floored me.
Interesting. All right, Jesse, you got some?
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty chalk. I have not seen Ibuka go in the first. I've not seen Golden go in the first, I don't think. I did see Burden go in the first. That surprised the shit out of me. But no, it's been pretty chalk. Although, like the way Golden is falling, like I mentioned before, has surprised me. Being able to get him after that 202 tier, if you get him at 203 or 204, somebody messed up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm with you, Austin, with that 108 to 202 tier. It's just that I haven't seen, like last year, you would see Ladd or Brian Thomas. Usually the quarterbacks sneak into that area like 201, 202. Shit, I got Bo Nix at 206 in a league last year. Yeah, I needed it too. But it's not really happening this year. But otherwise, yeah, like I said, pretty chalk. You see all those wide receivers go in the second. I'm surprised that the next tier, the tier, I call it the tier 3, second tier tight ends. You didn't mention Arroyo, by the way, Austin.
Yeah.
Great landing spot in Capital.
There's a reason.
Between those 3 guys, Mason Taylor, Arroyo, and Ferguson. Austin, I know you think I love Arroyo. I kind of like them all 3 the same though. Like I took Mason Taylor over the other 2.
You should have.
I did.
Good job.
And then I took Arroyo in a league, and I'm fixing to take Ferguson the next chance I get. I like all 3 of them.
I am going to steal Chad's because I have a feeling he's going to say this. But we've been in 2 drafts together, and Ward's fallen to 105 and 106.
I was going to say that.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
That's pretty crazy. And I'm going to steal Chad's verbiage. The 101 quarterback not going in the top 4 is pretty bonkers. Even as good as the other guys are, like the value at 106 for the 101 quarterback is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I'm just going to defend myself a little bit. I didn't use the word bonkers.
You don't have that good vocabulary like me. That's the problem.
No,
but Chad would probably say bananas. That would be my guess.
No, nuts. Nuts is my go-to.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm with you, Austin. How are people letting this guy fall? And it's been multiple drafts that I've seen this in now. I think 3 different drafts I've seen him fall outside of the 104. So I get it. The running backs are exciting. Obviously, we're not talking about Genty. Running backs are exciting, but gosh, man, the quarterback going 101. I feel like we're rewinding the clock here a decade, going back in Dynasty where people let quarterbacks slip. And let people get the Josh Allens and the Justin Herberts. And,
I was going to say, Justin Herbert was
second. Yeah. 111 was consensus on Justin Herbert, I'm pretty sure.
Even last year, lots of Penix and Nix in the second round too. So
yeah, but I mean, and Nix was one of those guys where that was. But Penix, I don't know. He was a little bit of people were so. I mean, even so, they've got the draft capital. You've got to go with them. If we've learned anything, not even the pros can evaluate these quarterbacks properly. So if
we've
they're
learned
getting the draft
anything,
capital,
we know
you got to
nothing.
go with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can we answer?
But yeah, let's get some of the ones in the chat. So Nathan has a question: which back do we like the most after Scadaboo in drafts?
None of them.
Yeah, none of them is
until the third, and then I like all of them.
But Sampson would be for me.
Yeah,
Sampson.
I like Woody Marks in the fourth. I've gotten him a few times. I don't think he's a crazy talented back, but
didn't they trade up for him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Like a future third for him.
I think they traded up to get him. And I think Mixon's going to be there for a while. But man, like he's free essentially.
Well,
I've gotten him like 4'10", 4'11".
If we're talking about that range, Devin Neal. I mean, I know he's got a long road to travel to beat out the backs ahead of him, but I really like him. And if you can get him that late,
does he though? It's just Kamara.
It's just Kamara. I mean, Kendra Miller.
The Saints hate Kendra Miller.
Everyone hates Kendra Miller. You know his mom,
except for his mother. Yeah,
Jamie brought up the name Jarquez Hunter. That's my mid to late fourth round guy that I've tried to get every time.
Okay, I don't really care about the Brashard Smiths of the world.
Well, that's not what Hunter is at all.
Or the Jackass Hunters.
They are nothing alike. Hunter put up 3 1,000-yard rushing seasons in a row in the SEC.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens between him and Corum. That's what I'm. It's worth a dart throw. They got him in the fourth, and what was Corum, a third round pick? Yeah. So I mean, it's not like they're worlds apart here. No significant draft capital on either end there, as far as mind altering, decision bending draft capital, right? So, I mean, he's definitely worth a shot there.
Let's hit up Jamie's question too.
Okay. This first one. The first one.
I need to hear your takes on Tootin.
Well, we already did. We already did this, but we'll go into detail.
No, I mean, what do you think it does to ETN? I didn't even hear how ETN Tank Bigsby.
All right, I will go first because mine is the strongest take, and I think jack shit. The guy needs to learn how to hold on to the football, number one, put on some weight, number two, and to be anything but a satellite back in this offense, he has a long road.
Yeah.
So,
he's
other
210.
I don't know. All right. Well, I mean, muscle. I don't know. He just doesn't look sturdy enough to me to run between the tackles in the NFL, and he doesn't like to do it. So maybe he just needs to put on some muscle in his mind.
In the second, he does nothing for me.
No,
I'm not taking a share.
My take on Tootin is the biggest thing is the ball security, and for him to beat out Etienne and Tank Bigsby, to have any relevance, it's nothing more than a long play. So yeah, he's nice in the third, I guess. He's fast.
I haven't seen him there yet, but I would be fine with that
if he can figure it out.
I haven't been able to get any shares of him, just because there's other players I like ahead of him in the second. But I mean, if you can get him in the third, this ceiling of Tootin is really, really high in my opinion. He's one of those guys that he's got the tools in the toolbox. It's just about putting it together. And with fourth round capital, a team is saying with fourth round capital paired with the fact that they've got 2 decent backs on their roster already, that's at least telling you they see something in him. They see something that they want to try to figure out with him. So I like it. And it's not like it was, I mean, it was the 104th overall pick. It's decent draft capital. I mean, that's a top of the fourth.
That's a third round rookie pick though.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you're not arguing for him in the second, that's fine. The fact,
I mean, I don't think the draft. I don't think I don't know. I mean, I would take him in the back end of the second. I think that's fine.
There's so many other players I'd rather have over him. He bounced everything outside, man. Talk about somebody that needs to like completely remake his style, learn some NFL vision, and again, the ball security. It's not a bet I'm taking over any of the tight ends, the quarterback that's there. Hell, I'll take Kyle Williams over him. And Noel.
Yeah.
Actually.
Agreed with both.
I like both of their games over him.
Yeah, I'm taking the shot on him. I'm taking the shot on him. If I can get him in the very back end of the second, unless there's some kind of crazy tight end premium, then there's going to be a number of tight ends that I'd have over him. But yeah, I think late second, early third, that's the kind of range I'm looking for personally.
Yeah, mid third for me.
Who do you guys feel is did everyone feel like they got their piece in as far as going earlier and stuff?
Yeah, I dogged him enough. I actually liked him as a college player. He was a lot of fun.
Who's a value right now that you guys have seen in drafts?
Chad, go ahead. You can finally talk about him.
Jack Besh.
Okay.
I've been waiting all pod for you to bring the name up.
Jack Besh. Perfect landing spot to me. He's a Pete Carroll player. I think he's one of those guys they're gonna try to use everywhere. I really like the player. I didn't like what draft capital I thought he was going to get. But I mean, everything's kind of worked out perfectly in my opinion for the process of Jack Besh here getting into the landing spot there with the Raiders. He's got a wide open wide receiver room. He's got a lot of just question marks on how Pete Carroll wants to run that offense. A lot of talent around him now. I'm excited to see what he's going to do there, and then the range that you're getting him, right?
I was going to say where you've been getting him.
Yeah, so I like him more than I think consensus does. So I've gotten him anywhere from around 2.4 to 2.11. It just depends on what your league's doing. But if you can get him anywhere from 2.6 to 2.8, 2.9, I think that's a steal, personally. So interested to hear what you guys think.
I just got my first share at 2.5. I also have a Higgins share. I did take Higgins over him once. I took Besh over Higgins once. Oh, no, Higgins wasn't even there, but I would have. And now I'm going to get a Trey Harris share. But of those three, Besh is kind of my favorite right now. I love Trey. I love Trey Harris. I love the landing spot. I think that if Harbaugh can develop him, he's going to be a monster. The problem I have is that he's a bit raw. And we just talked about that being a run first offense. And I'm not 100% sure that, I want the second option or could be the third or fourth option in a run first offense. So
do y'all both have Burden behind those three receivers?
Yes.
Higgins, Besh, and Harris.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, I do. And behind the tight end.
And I think that goes against consensus. I think consensus is pretty safe on Burden being ahead of those guys. At least from what I've seen. Yeah,
he's probably like the 203, 204 for most people. I would never take him there.
I'm gonna grab a share just because I think the ceiling is pretty high with him too.
Absurdly high.
Yeah, it's really high, but I think there's a lot of obstacles in his way. To have real fantasy relevance. And if there's a guy that I think you're going into the first year where you could see a value drop on him, we've seen these kind of players before where they're getting hyped up in the pre-draft process. They're getting hyped up in training camp, but the situation is just not ideal for them to find year one production. I think Luther Burden's kind of in that camp where if you do want him, maybe you don't have to invest that draft capital in him now. If somebody else in your league loves him, just wait, try to get him after the first year in that off season and see if you can get him for a little bit of a discount somewhere.
Okay.
So with Besh, Chad especially, what fantasy value do you see outside of a flex play? I just feel like that's the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
I just like him better as a player. So I see him as a potential wide receiver 1 in that offense. I think he can beat out Jacoby Myers. So I mean, you just don't view him that way, which is fine. He's just a player to me. I think is more talented than a lot of people give him credit for. I think his versatility is going to be something that's going to be an advantage to him because even if he doesn't find that wide receiver 1 role, like let's say he doesn't hit that ceiling that I think he has, then he's going to be a guy that they can move around, use in different situations. He's going to find the ball in his hand. I think he does a lot of the dirty work in whatever offense he's going to be in. He can play out wide. He can play in the slot. He's shown that under different coaching staffs. So it's going to be something where I think the floor on him is really high. I think the ceiling on him is decently high. I don't think he's going to be the flashiest player in the world, but I think he has a chance to be a really solid wide receiver 2, back end wide receiver 1, best case scenario for me. But where you're getting him, that's kind of what you're hoping for, right? That's the ideal scenario.
I'm going to call him movie theater popcorn to coaches. So once they have a little Jack Besh, a little taste of Jack Besh, they're not going to be able to stop. And they're just going to keep eating and eating and eating. And he's going to keep eating and eating. I can see it happening. Jacoby Myers is 28.
I request you to call him that every time from now on.
What's that?
I request you to call him that every time from now on.
Movie theater popcorn. That's who Jack Besh is. You just can't stop. You can't stop eating. Jacoby Myers is 28 and on the last year of his deal. So I think in a year or two, you're not going to remember he was on the Raiders.
And Jack Besh is a Raider, man. He's a Raider. Yeah. He's the toughest wide receiver in the draft. He's a Raider, right? But that's
that doesn't mean anything anymore.
That's a little bit of fun. Yeah, it's a little bit of fun.
But playing Oakland.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Jack Besh is, and this speaks to that versatility I mentioned earlier. I was watching some of the GM and Pete Carroll talking about their selection of Jack Besh and what they thought about his role in the offense. And one of the things that really struck me, which I went into the process really, really liking his versatility, but the fact that he played 90-something% of his snaps at slot when he was there at LSU his freshman year, and then going into after the post transfer, right, him playing on the outside 72, 74, something like that % of the time, and still finding that production and him able to look the part. It just goes to show you, like, he's gonna, and them mentioning it, right? Them seeing that and saying, hey, we can move this guy around and we think he can do whatever we need him to do. I think that's going to play into early production for him.
Right on.
Cool. Moving on. Who have you been trading up to get? I know Chad's done a bunch of draft day trading, but
I traded up once.
Is there anyone you've traded up to get, and who is it? And
I
where?
traded 203 and 303 to get up to 201 and get Golden.
Okay.
To me, it was a tier break. It was the first draft I was in, so I didn't want to take the chance that I would be in the next tier wide receivers.
Yeah, I've made a lot of trades into the top 7 and a lot of trades up to 202 range. I don't really even have a care who it is, but I just want to get in those two ranges specifically.
I tried to get into the late first from 204 and couldn't, because both guys wanted the running backs and wouldn't do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've done a lot of trading back, actually.
For 2 seconds, and
I've moved 2 Genty shares, including one to Chad, and it's just those teams, especially, like, I need the more chances, the more opportunities, and I don't feel a huge value difference or production difference between Genty and Henderson or Judkins or Hampton. The name will be huge, of course, but I don't think once the season actually starts, I don't think the production will be that far apart. So, like with Chad, I got the 205, his 26 first, and 106, which was Henderson or Genty. So with my roster, especially, like, that's the kind of risk I need to take.
The rebuilding side,
it's the kind of risk I'm trying to take. So I've moved all over the draft, but my main goal is to stay 202 and up.
And you expect his 26 first to be at least mid, right? Mid. To,
yeah, I don't care. I'm assuming playoff contender is what when I made the trade. I mean, that he's going to be battling for a playoff spot.
Gotcha.
What about you, Chad? I know you've been making moves.
Yeah. A lot of the moves I've been making is trading out of the draft, kind of getting some bets. So yeah, we're not really going to talk much about that, but
maybe next week. That's interesting to me.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of that, but when I have been trading like in the draft for other draft picks, majority of the time it's been trading back. There's one where I was one league where I was consolidating a bunch of picks and trading up, but that's kind of an outlier league. The rest of them I've just been kind of trading back. If I'm in that 105, 106 range, I'm trying to get to the 108, 109 range just because I like the players there a lot, and Caleb Johnson and Harvey and those kind of guys personally. I just don't see much of a difference there. So, yeah, that's kind of been my move. The second round, I've been trying to trade up into the 204 to 207 range a lot of the time because I think Scadabo's been going a little bit earlier than I would take him, and that's been pushing some guys back for me, which I enjoy. And it's not really hard to get into that range, especially when you're talking about 2.7, because a lot of people are trying to get to 2.2, 2.3. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of been where I'm at. And then the last one is in the early third round. If you're in a tight end plus premium league, there's been a lot of really good deals on tight ends in the beginning of that third. So that's been another spot where I've just been kind of keeping my eye open and saying, okay, is there anybody that's willing to move these picks for a future third, maybe in a fourth or something like that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I traded up into the early third to get Arroyo with Austin.
Of course.
I paid too much, but that's because I felt bad for him.
Sure.
Yeah, I like hitting trades. Those are my favorite.
Nice. All right, got a couple more just individual player questions, and then we're almost at an hour, so we'll wrap it up.
I have a really quick question before you do that, if you don't mind.
I do mind. So going to my question. No, I'm not. Just kidding. Jesse, go ahead.
If there's one player that you guys could see, like a later player, let's say mid to late second or later than that, having monster first year production like Bucky Irving or Cooper Kupp, something like that. If there's one player that you could see, who would it be?
I'll go way deep and say Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, running back for the Commanders.
I just drafted him with a 5th round pick. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, 7th round pick. He was borderline top 10 for me in the class. So obviously the capital's not there, but neither running backs ever impressed me. So one injury, and I could see him usurping that backfield.
Nice. How about you, Chad?
You're muted. Oh.
I'm gonna go with Gadsden.
Okay.
With the Chargers.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a guy that I liked a decent amount coming into the process, but I think the landing spot is pretty ideal. I'll be interested to see, how tight ends used in that Harbaugh offense. And then also, I think he's one of those guys that I think can come out of the gate swinging at that position. So I know tight ends usually, guys you want to be a little bit patient with. It's a really tough position to learn. Probably second toughest to quarterback. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what he's able to put together his first year. I think he's been pretty productive. And I see that carrying forward if he's given the opportunity. So excited for him.
For me, it would be Jalen Noel. A lot because of what Austin said with Higgins, not knowing what his role is going to be, not knowing what Noel's role is going to be, and just they've been searching for a second option since Tank Dell went down. Really like to see what that looks like, but I think Noel could just break out. I love his skill set. I think he's NFL ready.
Nice. Love it. Austin, I actually forgot you had a question that you posed to all of us.
Oh yeah,
trading. So
right.
Why don't you go ahead and ask your questions? We had some good discussion in the chat.
So I was trying to move into the late first, to get to that Harvey, Ibuka, Golden, Dart range, and Caleb Johnson. Was curious what y'all thought the best player you would give up to move into that range. So let's say 110 or later. How high are you willing to go for one of these guys? The name that came to me just for reference was Chris Godwin. That was kind of the first name that popped in my head when I was looking to move in. I wondered if that was enough. But how spicy are y'all willing to go to get into that range?
I wouldn't give that for Godwin. But my answer would be Tyreek. But then as soon as I answered that in our chat, I sent it out to 2 people and got rejected.
You offered Tyreek to them?
Yep, for 110 and 111, I think it was, and got rejected.
Yeah, he's way down right now.
One of the people was Nick Brunette, who is I think he's actually been on the podcast before, an old friend.
Yep. Another name that came to head was Kittle. Would you do that?
In a premium, I would take
Kittle.
Kittle.
In the right premium, in the right situation. I needed him on the roster. Yeah, absolutely.
Take Kittle.
Just got the contract extension.
Especially with the contract,
Yeah.
What if Loveland or Warren are sitting there? Does it change?
No, I'd rather have one of those guys. Well,
I mean, if I'm not competing, I guess that's where the roster.
Well, let's assume you are. Let's say you have
then I'd take Kittle.
Solid tight end too.
I'd take Kittle.
Would you move that age tight end for one of those young guys? Let's say you have a Hawk or a Njoku or Andrews or something like that.
I'd rather keep Kittle and have the.
Well, you like AARP rosters, so that does make sense. But
I do. I just win championships. It's a sickness.
That's
we
funny.
won the same amount this year. That's awfully funny.
I take Warren over Kittle. Loveland, if I'm competing, I probably wouldn't, just because I think he's got a few more hurdles there in my opinion. But a player that pops into my head on a guy that I'd kind of be trying to give up in that range, or he'd be kind of the ceiling of what I'd be trying to give up is Pickens.
Okay, interesting.
I'd do that.
Nath here said he's been contemplating DJ Moore. What do you guys think about that?
Interesting.
I thought that name too, and I just don't think I can do it yet. He's still on 27, going on 28. He just got Ben Johnson. He's the best receiver on the team. I don't know how they're going to use him, so it's question marks to me.
I would do it. I'd give up DJ Moore.
Interesting.
He's fluctuated so many times in his career.
Yeah.
And you think he's at peak value right now?
No, he was at peak value after that year with Justin
He's
Fields.
28.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
If he doesn't find an absolute elite production this year, value's down the toilet, right? Like this is kind of the last year you're going to get any semblance of really good value for him. So, I think now's probably a really good time to move off of DJ Moore personally, especially with the massive overhauls in that offense, with Rome coming into a second year, with the coaching changes, with them adding Luther Burden and giving significant draft capital for him, and with them giving really significant draft capital for basically another wide receiver in Loveland, right? So there's just a lot going on. So do I think that DJ Moore is going to be productive in that offense? I think so, but this might be your last shot to get something for him if you need it.
He also sat on the bench in the middle of a play, so.
Well, that's old coaching staff. That you could tell he was done with that.
Yeah.
So Chad, would you move him for Ibuka and or Golden, assuming that, or is it just the tight ends and running backs for you?
I'd move him definitely for the tight ends or the running backs in that range. Ibuka, I'd think about it. Golden, it would depend on the roster on Golden, but the other guys I'd probably do it in any scenario personally.
Dart as well, I would do it for, but for me the cutoff is Ibuka. I would not do it for Ibuka or Golden. Or guys, the cutoff is Golden, so that above.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, Jamie's got one last question in the chat. He said, "How far would we move back giving up Genty, and what would the package you need to move off the number 1 overall Dynasty RB. I don't know
I'm gonna go ahead and say he was on
the number 1, but
he was on dope trying to move off the 101. He wanted 5, 8, and 12 from me, and I was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. No. What was the deal you guys made? Because you guys actually you and Chad actually made one.
It was he had already picked Henderson, so it was Genty for Henderson, his 26 first, and the 205.
Okay.
That's kind of exactly where 6 and up would be probably where I'd want to be, maybe 7 and up if I'm trying to trade out of it. And I'm wanting a first and something else with it. Or a good player, either way, whatever the equivalent value is.
I like it. Jesse, look at that. Look what I did. We were in an hour and 6 seconds.
Nice.
I crushed it. No,
you did crush it.
You guys got anything else you want to say, especially as our listeners get ready for their rookie drafts? Or
5-star hosting review, Mike. That's all I got.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks.
We don't. I literally have not watched anything in the last week because I've been drafting.
Yeah.
So the wife has had murder porn on in the background, and I just.
I don't even want to Google that.
No.
Yeah, definitely don't. Definitely don't. The only thing that comes after that is an FBI raid.
I bet, murder shows.
Yeah. Speaking of that, me and the lady finished season 5 of You. Season 4 was disgusting. I hated that season. But 5 was actually really good. They finished it. It was a series finale.
I don't know.
It was actually good. It's You on Netflix. You've never seen it. I don't know
what that is.
It's a murder. It's a murder show. Yeah.
It's a murder show?
It's about a serial killer. It's about a serial killer.
How would your murder porn wife not know about this?
I don't know.
Yeah. 1 through 3 seasons were fun. 4 was absolutely terrible, but 5 was actually really good, and they finished it really well.
Jamie thinks he's funny. Murder, She Wrote's actually. That's my grandmother's show.
Nice.
Didn't they remake that?
I think you're thinking of Matlock.
No, I'm not.
They did remake. Matlock is on the air right now in a remake.
Oh man,
I don't think they remade Murder She. I hope they didn't make Murder. There is a theory out there though that, Angela Lansbury was Angela. Yeah, she would travel to all these places, and there would always be this murder for her to solve. There's a theory that she was actually the murderer. And
Austin,
was a serial killer.
You know what? You're thinking of Lion King. They remade that.
Yeah. That's a good movie. That remake is pretty good.
This is a random remake. He's like, this is exactly what you're thinking of.
No, it's
this other remake.
Yeah, you guys. I guess I wasn't on last week, right? So you guys got me into The Last of Us, and so I'm completely caught up. Season 2 was that episode 2 or 3? 2.
I have not watched any of it.
So 3 was.
Please don't spoil.
No, 2 was the crazy one.
2 was the epic one.
Okay, that's already enough.
We're talking Game of Thrones.
Well, you're supposed to watch it.
Epic. Yeah, you're supposed to watch it.
I have not had time.
What?
If you want the world to have delicious brownies and homemade ice cream,
if I'm not eating them, I don't care. No, but I've enjoyed The Last of Us. So
we've sold this week. I've made 30 pounds of shrimp salad. People are just going nuts.
That sounds terrible. I'll be honest with you.
Nathan in the chat
shrimp
was
salad,
asking about Thunderbolts.
Really
He's seeing it tomorrow. I've heard great things, Nate, and I'm also seeing it tomorrow. So my review will come next week on the pod. I'm excited. I'm going by myself like a true nerd.
I may try to find a cam on my Fire Stick and watch that this weekend
I'm just gonna watch it at the house.
Yeah.
Mike didn't even invite me, so I'm gonna go watch it by myself.
Wow.
You can come down.
Yeah.
No.
You want to come down tomorrow?
No, too late now. Too late now.
7 p.m.
Too late now.
That doesn't work like
I wouldn't think you would drive down just to go to the movie theater. So
he's unemployed. He has too much to do.
Hey, Chad, what movie did you and I actually see together a couple of years ago where we drove to that one crazy place?
Brokeback Mountain? Isn't that what you're
We didn't see a movie together. We've never seen a movie together.
Yes, we did, Chad. We went to a place I've never been to before, outside of like Austin or something like that.
Of course, it was Austin.
We've never seen a movie together, dude.
Jamie thinks shrimp salad is like shrimp on top of lettuce. It is shrimp, celery, mayonnaise, and Old Bay.
What?
And Old
What's
Bay.
the last? Okay, the only thing good you
shrimp,
named was
celery,
Old Bay.
mayonnaise, and Old Bay. That is
sounds terrible.
Maryland style
Absolutely
Baltimore
terrible.
shrimp. I don't eat seafood at all, so I'm not eating it. It smells like crazy though.
Nathan, just because you're Australian doesn't mean you're missing anything. Shrimp salad. What the fuck is the correct answer to that?
Yeah, don't judge us on that one. That's a
No.
Jesse thing. Whatever retirement.
It's
community
really
he's
not. I
feeding.
don't eat it, but it's very, very popular in Maryland and Baltimore.
Of course,
Of course, it's Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh, look! I
Jesse's
hate it
neighborhood.
Here. I hate it. Here.
Nathan sends me all these American people shooting people up and stuff, and talks about how crazy it is. Well, that's all Baltimore, Nathan. Just so you know,
It is. It all happens here.
Don't go
So
to it again
that's
there.
the problem.
It's the soundtrack of my life. It's sirens, gunshots.
It's literally no different than
Dogs
The Wire.
barking,
It's
cars
exactly The
going.
Wire. The
Yeah.
entire.
That's a good show.
That is a good show.
Omar coming.
All right, Jesse. Well, you want to close this out?
This has been Front Office.
Peace.